Can you see my screen and can you see me?
Yeah, I can see your screen. We can see your screen.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? I want to say you that. All right, so
Yeah,
let's
we
start.
can hear you.
So we are done with the goals, why we need to study. Now let's go to research. Why do we need to research in this course? Why is there a need to be doing research into human and computer interactions? What is the need of research? Now, part of research in human-computer interaction involves exploring easier to learn or more efficient interactions techniques for common computing tasks. You know, it's just like you want starting a new relationship with a lady. You want to be learning the lady. Like, okay, how can I please her? What are the things I can do more? How did she relate before with her previous dating or relationships? What are the things she likes? Okay, what new things can I do to make her happy? You know all those questions that come to your mind when you're in a relationship now, you know, it's the same thing. You're relating with your computer. So we need to keep researching. What are the easier way of you see that is why you see anything that has to do with technology, they are always evolving. And that is one issue none is having because none is a technology school. That is why you keep see saying change, and it's almost overwhelming the student. They keep looking for easier way of doing it, easier ways of doing it, easier ways of doing it. That is why research is an ongoing thing in HCI. Even right now that we're doing this class, we have people in the lab making research in the field, making researches on how can computers become better? How can this application do better? That led to the implementation of AI, how they started AI, artificial intelligence, and it's doing quite a lot because they want to make your interaction with computer more fun, more easier. So that is why research is an important part of HCI. We have to research. Why are we researching? To learn or to get easier ways or easier to learn interaction between the human and the computer. So for humans, the research will help us to know how humans can learn working with the computer in a more easier way. For computer, the research will help us to understand the ways computers can easily learn more of human ways, because the goal of relationship or interaction is for both of you to know each other, have a mutual ground of thinking, mutual understanding. And that will be very hard between human and computer. But because research is ongoing, it's getting better, it's getting better, it's getting better. And that is why sometimes you almost mistake robots, which is your AI. You almost mistake it for a human now because it's getting closer to thinking and behaving like humans. That is a work of research in HCI. Now, this involves inventing new techniques and comparing existing techniques using the scientific methods as follows. Now, one thing you should know is that you are not just passing through this course. At the end of this course, as a person, as an IT guy or as a computer science guy, you should be able to think of what you can develop to make the relationship of humans with computer easier. That is when you would have passed through this course successfully. If your thinking starts uh, getting disturbed, that okay, what other things have they not done in the world but can be done to make how humans understand computer or how computer understands human and how their interactions and relationship flows smoothly to make it better, then you would have been a good student of CIT353. Now, how is research done in this course? It follows scientific methods, and these are the methods. It's also starting with design, designing graphical user interfaces and web interfaces, developing new design methodologies, experimenting with new hardware devices, prototyping new software systems, exploring new paradigms for interaction, and of course, developing models and theories of interaction. So that research, under research, we have 6 steps which we should know. Designing, developing new design. Okay, let's look for a way of grabbing it without cramming. designing graphical user interfaces, developing new design methodologies, experimenting with new hardware devices, prototyping new software system, exploring new paradigms for interaction, and of course, developing models and theories of interaction. Okay, so that is 6 steps for research. Now let's go to something else. Interaction technique. What does it mean? Now, two things are involved here, interaction and technique. Technique is just like a style. Interaction is, the exchange of maybe relationship or communion between at least two people. Now, an interaction technique or user interface technique is a combination of input and output consisting of hardware and software elements that provides a way for computer users to accomplish a simple task. For example, one can go back to the previously visited page on the web browser by either clicking a button, hitting a key, performing a mouse gesture, or uttering a speech command. This gives us a very clear picture. The example given here has already given you the picture of what they meant by interaction techniques. They say it's a combination of input and output of hardware and software elements. The software, the one working inside, the hardware, the physical part of the computers that we can see. So, the user interface that they use to communicate with the computer using the hardware, the software is already working on the system. They are seeing it through the graphical display. That is why a button is here. I know that in this Zoom meeting now, if I should click a button, that will be an action the button will prompt. So that is the user interface. And of course, this interaction techniques means when you say techniques, activities that can be done on the interface that users are seeing. This is an interface now. This place where I click home now or menu is going to bring out some things. You see, by just clicking this button menu, I'm interacting with this button now, menu. I've clicked on it. It's showing me several things, several options, and each of them will bring out a prompt. So if I click it now, it's actually going to launch something and start working. That is interactive techniques for users to know that this button menu, if I click on it, this is what will happen. Let's move on. The computing perspective of interaction technique. Here, an interaction technique involves one or several physical input devices, including a piece of code, which interprets user input into higher level commands, possibly producing user feedback, and one or several physical output devices. Now, consider, for example, the process of deleting a file using a contextual menu. The first requires a mouse and a screen, that is input or output devices. The mouse will serve as an input, while your screen that is showing the file that you want to delete, that you can see where you are going to, where you are touching, what you are clicking on, serves as the output. Then a piece of code needs to paint the contextual menu on the screen and animate the selection when the file moves. That is user feedback. What they are trying to say is that the process of deleting a file is not just happening just like that you just go and click on the file. Oh, I don't need this picture again. Delete, and it goes. Only that delete that you went to your file, your folder to do, a lot has happened. Let's consider them. The first thing is that you've engaged two things, input and output devices. Your mouse, which serves as the input device, and the screen that is showing you what you are doing, the file you want to click on, which serves as the output device. Only because you want to delete something, no. You've engaged two things there. Then there will be a need for a code. The fact that you click on that file and you see the option delete, and if you click on delete, something will happen to the file. A code has been put to use there. So for me to now click on delete and something started happening to the file, Now, that is a code. And then the code doesn't just stop there. It also animates what is happening. The meaning of animate means that it gives you a kind of imagery of what is happening. I'm deleting a file. So I will now see the file moving like this, something moving. It's moving, and then it move from the, maybe it will be showing that it's minute 10 seconds, 5 seconds. That is the animation. It's showing that the thing is leaving your system to your recycle bin. You understand? What is happening there is that the action you've initiated is giving you feedback that, okay, remain 5 seconds, remain 2 seconds, remain 1 second, remain 0 seconds, done. That is feedback. All of this happened only because you deleted or you want to delete a file. You engage input and output device, you engage a code, a computer code that has been written and instructed into the computer. When a user click on a file and click on delete, do this. That is the code. And then it gives you a contextual feedback or animation of what you've selected and what you are doing. All that happened. Now, this is under computing perspective of the interaction technique. Under the human aspect of interaction technique, that is when you just click on your mouse and you click on the button on the screen as a human being. But on the part of the computer, it doesn't just stop on you using your mouse to click on something. You as a human, what you know in that aspect is you interacted with the file, you click on the file, you selected option under the menu, you selected delete. That is where your own ends as a human. You've interacted enough like that. The computer picks it up from you by engaging a code, giving you animated feedback, and engaging input and output device or devices. The input in the aspect of the mouse that have instructed the computer through your own guide, and then the output that is showing you the user from the computer. The computer is the one showing you now that this is what I'm doing right now. So that is the logic. Now, the software also need to send a command to the file system when the user clicks on the delete item, which is interpretation. That is another thing. It also means on the part of the computer, interpretation also took place. Even though they've coded the computer that once a user click delete, do this. It takes interpreting your command to the computer. So the computer will need to understand the command delete right from what has been programmed in the system. That is a software working. In other words, for you to delete a file alone on your system, you've engaged so many things. You've engaged input and output devices. You've engaged animation, which give you feedback. You've engaged software, which comes with interpretation of your command to the system. Now you see, so simple thing that you will do on the computer, you see how many things has happened to bring it to pass as an action that you've initiated. You just know it's very sweet. You just go to your computer, click, you're done, you're done. Those simple things. That one thing you click on, a lot has happened on the aspect of computer. That is what this course is meant to do. Open your eyes to how you are relating with your computer and how your computer is feeling with the way you are relating with it and what you yourself you are getting in relating with your computer. And that's interactivity. Now, the user view of interaction technique, how we, the user, the human, how we see interaction techniques. Here, an interaction technique is a way to perform a simple computing task and can be described by the way of instructions or usage scenarios. For example, right-click on the file you want to delete, then click on the delete item. That is your own interpretation of interaction techniques, which means if I want to delete a file on my system, now I want to interact with my computer that, hey guys, oh yeah, delete this file. How do I go about it as a user? It's going to the file, right-clicking, getting to the option and delete. That is my own definition of the technique for deleting, for interacting with my computer. Just for me to go and click on the file and click on delete. That is my own, in my mind now as a human, as a computer user, that is what will be in your mind. Even if somebody asks you, how can I just go and click on the file now? If you click on the file, you right-click, you will see options. If you see options, the one that say delete, just click on it, the thing will get out of your system. You know it's very sweet, that's what you will say. But that is your own side. That is your own view of interaction techniques. We've talked about three things now under interaction techniques. We've talked about the machine aspect, how the machine behaves or relates to it. We've talked about how the user, the aspect of the user, the command. Okay, when you give a command, how does the system carries it? How does it sees it? You that are giving the command, what is in your mind? We've seen it. Then how your command is being carried out, we've seen it. The next thing we're going to talk about is conceptual view of interaction technique. The conceptual view of interaction technique. Please, I hope I'm not too fast, and I hope you guys are following. Are you getting it? Or we should slow down? Are you guys still with me?
We are following. We are following.
Thank you. So, the conceptual view of interaction technique. Here, an interaction technique is an idea and a way to solve a particular user interface design problem. It does not always need to be bound to a specific input or output device. For example, menus can be controlled with many sort or pointing devices. Interaction techniques as conceptual ideas can be refined, extended, modified, and combined. For example, pie menus are a radial variant of contextual menus. Marking menus combine pie menus with gestures. In general, a user interface can be seen as a combination of many interaction techniques, some of which are not necessarily widgets. What I'm trying to say here under the conceptual view is that when we are talking about interaction, especially the techniques, do you know that based on how much we know about the computer, if you call three people to come and open a file on a system, they will use three different techniques based on maybe their knowledge of computer. We have somebody that will open a file with just a code. If the person just come to, maybe you goes to the command prompt, the CMD, or you go to the PowerShell, it can open a file from there. It will still open a file. Another person may just go straight to the file and be clicking menu and click on open. That's another way. Another person may just click on Control O on a particular item and it's still open. That is what they're telling you, that there are some techniques that have different forms in which they appear, but it's still the same action. So if you have a menu now, I want us to understand the meaning of the differences between the menus that they talk about. They talk about pie menu. Do you know what a pie menu is? They talk about marking menus. Do you know what they mean?
No, no.
Okay, and you guys not ask questions like that. We saw it like that. No, you not ask question. If it's now in the exam, then I ask you now. You now say, we did not do this one in the material. It's not there. It's there. Now you know it though. So under user interface, like you know what interface is already. The one you are seeing on your screen. The way you are seeing the computer respond. If you open something, the way it open, what you are seeing when you open it, that is the interface. Now, for the pie menu, it's like a circle like this. The pie menu, you know the meaning of pie now. You know what a pie is in set. When you draw a pie, you can now assign divisions. You cut this small part. You say it's 30% is for A, set A. This other part is 70% is for set B. This other part is 10% is for, pie chart now. From the idea of pie chart. So we have a menu that opens like that. That menu is that type of menu that sometimes it occurs around your cursor, like this cursor now. If I want to use this cursor to get option now, and I click on, for instance, I didn't mean there are so many things you can do here, and I click on the, you see, this one is even triangle. This one is in triangle, but it's going to pop up like a circle. Oh, what is this one? I beg. We're not here to like a circle, but in form of pie. It will now arrange the options in pies, like as if it's a pie chart. That is one. The marking menu. I don't know what what did I that is my this is my title. It's just like the pie chart too. Hmm? But the marking menu used to use gesture. The difference between the pie chart, sorry, the pie menu and the marking menu is that the marking menu can use gesture, which means do you how many of you have some smart features on your phone? Like if you want to open music now, you just click you on your phone screen when it is off, you just draw M and automatically it will open music. How many of you are already using that on your phone? We have smartphones like in fact any Android phone can do it. If you go to settings and you turn on smart features, you see that if you draw W, it will open WhatsApp automatically. You don't need to go to menu and be searching for WhatsApp. When your phone screen is dead like that, if you just draw W, if you turn on the settings from smart features, you will find out that drawing W will launch WhatsApp automatically. If you draw Y on the screen of your phone, YouTube will open. That is marking menus. It works with gestures. You don't need to go and be looking for options or to go to menu and be searching for a file. With gestures, you can open what is it called, an app or anything. And that one doesn't necessarily need to arrange things in widgets the way you see it on. If you go to your phone menu, it will just show widgets, show everything in widget. This one, you don't need to go there. Just draw on your phone screen and you are there. So that is the difference between the two. Now, interaction styles. What are the types of interaction between the computer and the human? Interaction techniques that share the same metaphor or design principles can be seen as belonging to the same interaction style. Examples are command line and direct manipulation user interfaces. More details are provided in subsequent chapter of this guide. Okay. What they're just saying is that when the operations that goes on in a style is similar, then they are using the same style. That is just the thing. And when you say interaction style, it's just the design principles that are employed in the interaction that is ongoing between you and the computer. The design principles, the design that they use, styles that are used. That one is something simple. Even if they ask you if you don't know anything about it before, you can just use your brain to write something on it. Now, the paradigms of and history. Let's not go into that tonight because we still have another class later on. I think this next class should be shifted to 10 so that we have 1 hour to rest. So let's stop on that today. We know that we'll start from 3.5 in the next class. So let's leave the floor for some questions. We have learned some basic things about how I can date my computer. Let me just say it like that. How I can date my computer, how I can relate with my computer, how I can make my computer happy, how I can converse with my computer. When I say my computer should do something, what are the things going on the computer before it's able to do that thing? We've learned some basic things about interacting with the computer today. We'll talk about the goals. We'll talk about the research, as in the goals of relating with the computer. So that is the human-computer interaction. And also, why is it necessary to study the research, or sorry, to research into the study of this concept. We'll talk about that too. We'll talk about the interactive styles, the conceptual view of the interaction techniques itself. We'll talk about it, and the human part and the computer part. Any questions? It's your turn to talk. Oh. Any questions? Any addition from your side? From your own experience, what can you teach us about what you've done tonight? Yes? People understood everything. Okay, I want somebody to explain the computing perspective of interactive technique to us. One person. The computer perspective of interactive technique. Explain it to us. That was where we give example of deleting a file. So explain it. Say something on it. Why are those still here? Everybody don't run away. Joy, help us with the explanation. Joy is denying also. You don't know us here. Joy don't know us again. No.
I would say hello.
All right, we're with you.
Okay. From my own understanding, the computing techniques, I would say like deleting a file starts with uh, sending an input and output command, like having a mouse, which is input device, and the screen of the computer, which is uh, serving as the output device.
Okay.
So when we click a menu on the screen, that is, it starts with clicking a menu on the screen, which serves as input and output interaction. So secondly, a code is activated. So these codes highlight the text to be deleted. It animates the code to be the text to be deleted. So by animating the text to be deleted, it moves the text. So by moving the text, like let's say it moves from it counts down like from 5 seconds to 4 seconds, 3 seconds, to, and finally to 0 seconds. So that shows that the test has been shifted and deleted. So the last part is feedback. So that gives us the feedback that the test has been deleted. So that's my own understanding of the computing um, aspect.
Yes, interactive
Computing,
techniques, the computing side of interactive techniques. Thank you so much.
yeah, the
At
computing side
least,
of interacting, yeah,
yes, that
interactive
shows me
techniques.
that at least one person follow the class. So thank you very much. So that is it. It's something we know before because every day you on your system, you interact. The only thing is that you don't know that something special was happening. You don't know that you were dating your system. You don't know that you were relating with it. To you, it's just a normal thing. Let me on my system do something today. That is what you have always been saying it. That is how you have always been seeing it. But today now or tonight, you have been able to see that something is going on between you and the computer, an interaction, a relationship. It's not just all about you opening that system, playing games or designing some things on your maybe corridor or whatever you use to design. A lot are happening. It's an interaction. You are relating with each other. You are discussing with the computer. You are talking with the computer. You are exploring with the computer. You are giving it command. It's giving you responses. That is all you are doing. So thank you all for attending tonight's class.
So we can say that under the interactive techniques, we have the computing and the human
Side.
view, right?
Hmm.
Okay, the computer and the human side. Sides.
Everything we'll be doing in this course, we have two sides. We'll talk about the human side and the computing side. That was why we said that from the beginning that it is a multidisciplinary thing, because it has the human side and the computing side. Under the computing side, that was where we are talking about design, blah, blah, blah. The human side, we talk about cognitive psychology, the communication theory. Under the computer, we talk about programming languages. If you remember, those are the things we talk about. And it has started from there. All through, even what we did tonight, you see that we're always talking on two sides. We'll first address, either we'll start with the user side, which is the human, and move to the computing side, or we'll start with the computing side and move to the human side. But in any case, all through this course, you'll be talking about two people or two entities. Let's not say people, because computer is not a person. Two entities. The first entity is the human, which is the user, and the second is the machine, which is a computer.
Machine.
Thank you all for attending tonight. Have a wonderful night rest. We might not hold that
Thank you. So which class are we?
that 309. We're supposed to do it tonight, but let me see how we'll fix it tomorrow. I'm tired already. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe in the afternoon or so.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Good
We
night.
really appreciate your time. We appreciate you.
You're all welcome. Good night.